Welcome back to another episode of For the Record. I'm Dwayne.
I'm Hope.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about pivoting in business.
Pivoting in business. So let's define pivoting.
Pivoting is taking a moment and reevaluating your business and seeing if you need to make a change for the market in order to keep your business going. Now, it can be a big pivot.
Yep.
You might want to change your whole name and your brand, or it can be a little tweak, is what we're looking at as a videography company, right? Just a little tweak.
Yeah, so just evaluating your business. You have to be honest. What's working, what's not working, what I may need to change, what I may need to get rid of. Those are the things that we're talking about as far as pivoting. And as far as we're concerned, we're a videography company.
Right.
We video production, podcasts. We do real estate. We do product reviews. We do brands. We do commercials. So there are many avenues that we can go down.
Definitely.
To pivot. You know, that's the fortunate part about our brand.
Our brand. And you know, Netflix did the same thing. Netflix had to pivot from DVDs, which we all remember, to one of the largest online streaming platforms. They made a pivot. What if they just stuck with DVDs?
Can you imagine DVDs when we first got them? You know, when that first came out, we was like, wow, look at this.
This is
this is cool. Not knowing that one day it will no longer exist.
It don't exist.
Remember the other day, Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yes.
Right?
For his birthday.
Yeah, he got like a DVD player for his birthday, and he was like freaking out like this is the best thing since bread, right?
And they were like, so much money you spent on this.
This was in the 90s, I imagine.
It was the late 90s.
Late 90s. And how big of a deal DVDs were. But again, Netflix started out like that, ended up being the largest streaming platform today.
They made a pivot.
So they saw a need. They saw where the technology changed just like that, because we're talking the late 90s, probably around what I dealt with DVDs too. I had a DVD store, right?
Yes, we did.
And I see where I'm thinking like, well, I'm making all this, money with these DVDs, those DVDs that you used to get from, the corner stores and whatever. I'm not going to get into it, but 3 years later, there was no need for those anymore.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
People started going to the online platforms. And so you had to pivot and become a videography company.
Yeah.
Because now you're going to supply the content for the people to make what they were putting on the DVDs. So what are we saying? When you're pivoting, it's like running a race, right? You know exactly where you're going. You're following all the markers, but somewhere along the way, you might get a little lost. So you want to create your own path to the finish line. Yeah,
because at some point, the market will demand that. Exactly. And that's what happened with Netflix. The market demanded it. There's no need for it no more. And the same with whatever industry you may be in. Check the markets. Look at your competition.
Right, because there's many reasons to pivot.
Yeah, let's talk about the competition part of it too, because sometimes we don't do our market research or just seeing what other competitors are doing.
Right.
We're not saying that you have to know exactly what they're doing and follow it. What we're saying is paying attention to how maybe they are doing their promotions,
yes,
or their website and things like that.
What's keeping your doors open?
What's keeping the doors open? So being in the sprinkler industry, fire sprinkler industry, Powell Fire has developed some relationships where we can call other contractors that's in the same business that we're in,
right,
and just check jobs that they may have done. Like we may be bidding on a job,
right, with a particular company,
with a particular contractor or company, and so we call around to see, you dealt with this person, how they pay,
right,
how is it with their schedule,
right,
and they give feedback. Sometimes they even say, hey, you might want to add an extra 10%.
Oh, really?
Because to it, because these things may come up. So you just never know how your competition can be helpful in that case, and that also helps you with pivoting as well if you need to.
So I would call that competitive collaboration.
Exactly.
And that's what we have to be okay with in business. As small business owners, entrepreneurs, you have to be comfortable with competitive collaboration. Don't, when somebody calls your company and say, hey, what do you do? What do you charge? Don't have an attitude. Tell them they're trying to get on game. They looked at your website, obviously, or, you know, some videos they seen, and they want to do what you're doing, and they're just looking for some help. Competitive collaboration.
So you're saying not to gatekeep everything?
No, why? Unless you have something brand new to the market, and I mean proprietary that nobody else is doing, make sure you're sharing. That way we can all eat. Even
with, like I said, I keep going back to us. Even with our studio rental prices, we compared, right? Prices of other studios in our area.
Definitely.
So we didn't just jump out there with an astronomical price or a really low ball price. We wanted to make sure that we're competitive.
Competitive.
You know, and being that you may be a restaurant, barbershop, you know, just check around. What are you charging for haircuts? Because it varies. You know, I'm just saying with just haircuts.
And different services.
And different services. Just, you know, just do your market research, and that way you'll know if it's time to just tweak some things or if it's time to do a full-on pivot.
Right. And another reason you might want to pivot, the finances aren't doing what you thought they would do, right? Like you're paying for a space. You have sometimes people have to rent the equipment to do their business. And now you're seeing more money go out than more money coming in. It's time to consider a pivot.
Yeah. So not to be so emotionally attached to your product or service. Correct. Because some people are like, this is my baby, which we get it. If you are an inventor, you know, that may be your baby. If it's not selling, then what is the time to do?
Pivot. Also consider the technology advances that are happening. If technology can squash your business, if technology can come in and do what you say your business does, then it's time to pivot. Because why would somebody pay you for that product or service when there's another company using technology? I can get it faster, it's better, it's more quality.
Yeah.
I mean,
so real world example is the rise of AI.
Yes.
Now that's going to cause, it's causing a lot of industries to pivot.
Even the music industry,
the movie industry,
and the movie industry.
You see what even like I believe Tyler Perry was going to buy some type of studio. I believe he's going to invest like $800 million
more into his studio.
Right, but he saw this new AI tool that's out by OpenAI, and he was like, "No, let me wait. Let me see what's going to happen. See what it's going, because I could be spending that much money and it's a waste when this new technology can change the way movies are made
in a second."
Well,
literally,
it is changing. Yeah, in seconds.
Yeah,
so,
I saw a little clip from Pharrell, and he was talking to the people in the music business. He said, with technology, we need to band together and collaborate more, or we're going to be non-existent. And this is coming from a top producer in the music industry. Yeah. He said, if we don't band together, AI is going to take us out.
And it was something else you showed me, I believe just yesterday, how they're saying that we don't know with AI, you know, the rise of AI, we don't know what's real and what's fake anymore.
Yes.
At some point, we're not going to be able to identify nothing real.
It's going to be relativism. Yeah. Because I was looking at a post, and it was beautiful. It was talking about vacationing in tree houses somewhere in South Carolina, right? And I was like, you know, we like to travel. So I was like, babe. And then I clicked the comments, and it was like, oh, this is AI.
Yeah, so
it doesn't even exist.
What's the point of that? That's what I'm saying. People are just making things and putting it out there and just, it's like fooling people.
Yeah, it's fooling people.
You know, but when you are in business, we have to make sure that we are really identifying what is real and what is fake. And that's also in our business. What's real, what's actually making real money, and what we are just holding on to, I call that something fake. You know, we're holding on to that we can get rid of easily. That's not bringing in the income that we're actually spending money on because we have to keep that in stock, you know, inventory.
It's time to pivot.
Time to pivot. Drop that product or service.
Look at Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, look at it.
They pivot. They used to be called, I think, Bourbon. I can't pronounce the owner's last name, but he changed over to being what it is today. One of the most prolific content sharing platforms there is.
Yeah.
It pivoted from being just a location based, hey, here's where I am. That's what Instagram used to be. Like you checking in somewhere.
Oh, it was a check-in service.
Yes, it was
Instagram. Okay, so Instagram used to be a check-in service,
Right.
but now
Look at it.
Look at it now. It's photo sharing.
It's
from
everything.
photo sharing now. You're talking about to videos. And another thing about Instagram is they had to pivot at least twice.
I think it was 2 times.
At least twice in the last 5 years or so, because with the rise of TikTok,
Yep.
you know, market demanded for them to pivot.
Yes.
Shift some things from going just from photo sharing to now videos.
You can share everything on Instagram in order to keep up with the market of TikTok. Somebody
Yeah.
new came on the scene.
Yep.
And so instead of saying, oh, wipe out,
Yeah.
no, they made a pivot. So sometimes when business throws you a curveball, you adjust your swing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what Instagram did.
And another example of a company that was popular that I don't know what happened, but MySpace. I don't know if they didn't pivot when Facebook came out and Twitter started coming out, but MySpace used to be the thing.
That's where I started.
Yeah.
Right. And here come Facebook. And so MySpace said, wipe out. And
What do you say, wipe out?
you know, I didn't do any research on where they went,
No,
but
me either.
they are no longer. We don't hear anything about MySpace. Now it's Facebook. And there's so many indications to pivot.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we're doing here at the Boss Move Studio. We've been looking at some indicators as to why we might need to pivot. We have a brick and mortar, but if those sales aren't coming in to keep that brick and mortar open without you know what I'm saying? If more money is going out than you have more money coming in, it's time to pivot. So look at your finances. That's the reason.
Yep. And we're fortunate enough, again, to be able to go mobile if need be, because we started out mobile, which that means we'll pull up on you in your spot, wherever you are, shoot a podcast, video, whatever. You don't really need a studio per se. It's good to have one,
Right.
you know. And another thing is, with our studio space, love it, right?
Right.
I think we could actually use a space that's bigger. You know, that's what I'm thinking about too. Not saying that we're going to totally get rid of a studio space, but I think what we should look at, and that's just from being in business, well, not in business, but having a studio for a year.
Right.
You look at how it worked for you and how you can outgrow some things,
Right.
which can cause you to pivot as well.
Correct.
You know,
and I want to share another reason why we're looking at pivoting as well. I'll use the Boss Ladies podcast, right? I know y'all haven't seen it for about maybe 3 to 4 weeks. It's not that it's over. Season 1 is done, but what we also learned is women that I interview, these bosses are bossing. They don't always have time to come in the studio when I would like them to, right?
Yeah.
But imagine being mobile. Just a possibility, being mobile. Hey, I'm on site here today. I'm doing this event. Come out there, shoot a podcast in a different format. Get some. You see what I'm saying? Like, we are thinking about these things because in order to keep going, you might need to consider a pivot.
yeah, I mean, that's also paying attention to your business.
Yes.
How customers are responding, because they give you feedback. If you're not listening to your customers, that's sad.
Then you don't know. Then you're not running your business properly.
Yep.
Because without customers, you don't have a business.
And even, one example where they're not listening is we plant-based.
Yes.
Hard to find a plant-based meal other than vegan restaurants, right?
Which are very few.
So we go look. They try to accommodate at certain restaurants. Some of them just don't have anything
At all.
and they don't even care. You know what I'm saying?
we got we got fries.
We got fries. We got salad. I mean, come on, man. I mean, what is it to add a burger or something simple to a menu? Even like a big company like McDonald's don't have plant-based options.
Burger King jumped in. Good job, Burger King.
And other companies like, what is it? I mean, you're able to tap into this market share of people that are willing to come to your restaurant.
And that's just a little tweak pivot. That's a
Small.
tweak pivot because the health and wellness industry is growing so much. If these restaurants, some of them local, even if you're local, or the big ones, as you said, McDonald's and KFC, even if they took that small little pivot and added burgers, just a plant-based burger.
That's it. That they're not even changing the menu to fully plant based.
You're adding. So all you have to see is what would those numbers look like just from that one ad. I have a very good friend who works for Publix in the research marketing develop. That's what she does. And she was sharing with me how they created like a strawberry pineapple lemonade and a couple of others, and they put those 3 out during the summertime to see what the numbers it would do, and only one of them made the highest numbers ever. Wow. Right? Okay. So now they're keeping that as a part of their product line, and they're getting rid of the other 2.
Wow. See, that's Publix. Okay, they have, you know, the finances behind them, but don't think that a small business cannot do the exact same thing. Test the market, which you should. You should be testing the market. Because some products or services people don't want. You know, sadly, it's because it's invented. People may not want it. They may not want it in that area. Exactly. You know, they may want some other type of service, maybe something else you offer. That's why I'm saying you have to pay attention. Your doors are open. Are your sales looming, or is it just stagnant? Yeah, is it stagnant? Or are you chasing sales? You know, you're stressing yourself out. You know, small little tweaks in your business can help,
so that you don't feel like you and your business are running on a treadmill going absolutely nowhere. Yeah. Now the treadmill is healthy. Yeah, it works itself. But if you're just running, how long is it going to take you to see results? You have to pivot. Maybe you have to incline on that treadmill, right? So look at pivoting in that way. It helps you to be on that treadmill and have a goal instead of just walking and going nowhere at all.
So what we should do is identify what your business does best. Yes. What are you good at? You know, you open your doors. You're a lawn service company, right?
He gonna tell y'all about him.
No, let's say you're good at it. you're good at it. That's your thing. You got plenty of customers. That's you. Keep going. Keep it going. Now, we had this one company that we had that was providing lawn care service for us. Third cut, it was like, nah, this ain't working.
It's over.
I mean, we came home. The edging was all off. It was grass. They everywhere. Like missed spots all throughout.
All they do is cut.
Yeah, and then we was like, complain, of course. It's wow, I'm sorry about that. You know, we don't edge. All we do is cut.
Why did they tell us that?
One thing about this person is they can fix a motor.
Let me tell them what happened.
What happened?
Every time in those 3 cuts, during those 3 cuts, one of their equipment would break down. And he would spend at least 30 minutes fixing that machine, but he got it working. Right? Out of 3 cuts, he always had to fix something. Yeah. So we determined he should just be a repair service.
Yeah, it should be a lawn repair service. You know, you're having issues with your equipment, call such and such.
Yes, we're not going to say his name, but call him. Yeah. He ain't watching. Call Charlie.
Yeah, call Charlie. Call Charlie, because we know he's not watching. But all we're saying is you have to be, cognizant of what your business does best.
Right. What do you do best?
What you don't do best. Let's see how we can improve that. We may need to pivot this.
Right. And in order to pivot, it's very important to have a detailed list of why you're pivoting and why you shouldn't pivot. So that's a part of the challenges and risks. Make sure you're writing down these things. Okay, I want to pivot because, we need to pivot because, and then if we pivot, what could happen? Challenges and risks.
I'm a restaurant and my food nasty. I don't want to say it's nasty. I would not accept that it's nasty. But the customers are not responding like they should.
They're not coming in.
People are complaining. I'm getting bad reviews, but I'm still going to open these doors. I'm still going to be this restaurant.
I want to be the restaurant. So
you may need to pivot.
Yeah.
What could I do? I have this space. I can open up as an event space.
There you go. I'm an event.
I already have equipment. You can actually prepare your food here and have your event here.
There you go. That's
a new business model. That's if your food is nasty.
Right. If your food is nasty. But if your food is good, you can still add that as a stream of income. Yeah. You can rent my space.
You can rent my space, and we even have vegan options for those that are plant-based.
And we cater to you. Yes. So what are some other challenges and risks when you're pivoting?
Well, you have to make sure you have the financial resources to do so. We again, fortunate enough, we have equipment. we have different avenues we can go down, but you know, some businesses don't.
Right.
So if you gonna pivot and you sell a certain product, you have to now look at a new inventory item.
Correct.
Do I have enough to buy these items, shipping or whatever? You have to look at that. Do I have to change my website?
Yep.
You know, colors of a website, name, like
New
you said
branding,
before.
yeah.
All of that, all these things are taken into consideration.
Yeah, if you want to pivot.
Now customers sometimes don't respond well. You know, at all. They may like the way you're going, but it may
don't
be
like change.
Yeah, it may be a whole strategic thing behind you shifting your whole business model to something else, and the customers don't like it.
Maybe they will if you take them along the ride. So these are ways you can, you know, do your pivot, because like you said, people are not going to like it. Not everybody, but there are some people who will go along the ride with you. So you vlog while you're changing. You vlog while you're doing your branding. You
let them in on it.
Yeah, and then you're more apt to retain that customer base. And then for those people who have stakeholders or investors, you know, you got to be careful with that too before you pivot, because they have to be on board, right? So make sure you're keeping the people who invested in your business in the loop as well, because if you're going to pivot, they need to know why, so they can determine if they're going to spend more money with you.
Yeah, and one real world example is, it's a particular radio station that we listen to, right? Talk radio.
Yes.
Out of the blue, changed its format to Spanish.
Just
Spanish
shut
music.
down.
So this, before they changed, they had listeners from all over the world.
The UK, Australia,
all over the United States, calling in, all over Florida, because it was a Florida station. And then 2 days before, they just say, hey, we're going to switch format. I mean, they didn't even give the employees the shows that on the heads up. They gave them a 24 or 48 hour notice.
48 hour notice that they're closing down and you can't come back here no more.
Yeah, it's going to change totally on Monday to all Spanish format. So what happens with all of the customers listeners that are listening now for the talk radio?
They lost them.
They lost all of these people.
They lost them.
Because now you're talking about a Spanish station that only caters to a certain culture.
Yep.
And it's music, which we weren't there for music at all anyway.
It was there for the information.
Yeah.
So what are we saying with this example? Sometimes you are steering and you think this is the way to go forever, and boom, you hit an iceberg.
Yeah. That iceberg example is real, because you have to make sure that you are forecasting for the future. You know, you see an iceberg coming. I mean, because as business owners, you are steering the ship. And if you see an iceberg coming, that's a potential problem. Something that may cause total devastation to your business. You got to know how to turn, pivot, turn from it, so that you're not, destructing, taking your whole business down.
Yeah, I mean, and especially if you have employees, you got to consider that too. Pivoting can also help your employees, your bottom line. You keep the company morale when you know how to pivot. You get to keep those people with you that started out with you, right? Because sometimes if we don't pivot, employees are looking like, "Ooh, I see where we're headed. I'm jumping ship."
Well, sometimes employees don't want to pivot because they just collecting a check.
That too.
And you cannot be emotionally attached to that either. As business owners, of course, you want to help your employees,
right? Because
you hired them. You have this bond. But again, you are in charge. Unless they are stakeholders and investors in your business, you are in charge, right?
Did you know that YouTube started off? You told me, what was it?
As a dating site.
A dating site.
Yeah. The platform we're on now, the one we love, YouTube, started out as a dating site.
I can't even see that.
Me either.
But look what they do today.
Yeah. I remember joining in 2005, not even knowing the history behind it. All I know is I can upload video on here. And now it's become a platform where individuals, entrepreneurs can upload and make money.
Like buku money, content creation community or something. It's huge.
Starbucks went from selling beans to being the one of the biggest coffee houses in the world.
Yep. And PayPal actually started off with crypto.
Yeah.
And then they changed to one of the largest digital financial platforms there is. So they all made pivots in order to keep their business going, right?
Yeah.
I want to say a little bit about the branding and your naming. You having to change that because I believe it was Instagram. They started off with their name Bourbon because the owner used to be into whiskey and bourbon. So he named the company Bourbon. But then when he saw that it wasn't engaging the people, nobody really connected with that name, he changed it to Instagram.
Yeah.
Right? So he made a pivot. Something he loved. He had that name. He said it was going to be one of his companies throughout his life. He loved bourbon, but he looked at his bottom line and said, this not working. People are not engaging. Let me change.
Yeah.
And hence the name Instagram.
Everybody
knows what that is.
And it pivoted again because you could just share photos. Now with the rise of TikTok, TikTok came in, video sharing and photos, so that it made them pivot.
Right.
You know, sometimes you're forced to do so. You can't just stick around when there's a new kid on the block. You know what I'm saying? You can't. You can't because you will just fall behind, or your customers will jump ship and go to some other company. So
remember, pivoting is like taking a leap of faith, right? That's how I understand pivot. It's not that you're failing. It's a leap of faith. It's saying to yourself and your business, look, we started off here. It's doing pretty good. Can we do better? Yes. How? Let's change this. Let's tweak this. Let's elevate this. Let's decrease this. That's all pivoting is. It's looking at your model and making some changes when necessary.
Business owners, I want to challenge you today to look into your business model and to be honest, to see if you need to pivot. If you need to add a product, to remove a product, add a service, whatever it is, just to be honest with you. And when I say honest, if you're emotionally attached to something, emotionally attached to a product, emotionally attached to customers or even employees, you got to really check yourself. Because you're in business to make money. You're the captain of that ship. If you see this iceberg that's out there, it's nothing like it's not like it's a tornado just come out.
Oh no, tornadoes you unexpected.
Hurricanes, you get some warning. Icebergs, you get a warning because you can see it.
Yes,
you have time to pivot, to change courses. That's all we're talking about today. Changing courses when market demands. Changing courses when your business is not
flourishing,
making the money that you open the doors to do.
Right.
So that's what I challenge you to do this week, and to just examine it, and next week implement those things that you found that are faulty, that you can change to increase your revenue.
Right. And that's all we wanted to share today. Pivot. If y'all know that famous scene from Friends, pivot, 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 pivot. Shut up. Because there was trying to find any and every way to get that couch up the stairs, right?
Yeah.
So we want to find any and every way to keep our businesses afloat. So pivot when necessary.
Yeah. Last thing, I've seen where these entertainers, athletes, actors, actresses are pivoting from what they normally do to the podcast space.
And why do you think that is?
Because they see the lucrative, how lucrative it is,
right,
and how this platform is not going anywhere.
And they understand also in the line of business they're in, especially those like in movie and music, technology can wipe them out at any moment.
Exactly. Joe Budden is a podcaster. He said that he was a rapper. They asked him why he's, into podcasting now. He's like, he kind of said it's like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't I? This is the best job I've ever had. It's easy. I get to talk to people and engage with them.
Right.
Why wouldn't I want to do this?
And podcasting is the it platform.
That's right.
This is where everybody is podcasting, content. People want to see, as you say, what am I doing every day? They want to follow you around. They want to know where you shop. They want to know what you eat. They want to see what you and your family are doing. So pivot when necessary.
Yep. So that's the challenge. We don't want to just hold on to something that's not working. Pivot. Anything else you want to share?
Let's support more in 2024, and remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the For the Record.
I'm Dwayne.
I'm Hope.
We'll talk to you next time.
Later.
Knowledge make it moves. We a microphone for the record. We got the facts. For the record, we run the tracks. We in the business, no time to play.
Thanks for watching. Bye.